Welcome. Thank you for being here. Welcome to the Korean Healthcare Innovation Showcase, hosted by Matter, the Korea SMEs and Startups Agency, KOSME, and World Business Chicago. I'm Stephen Collins. I am the CEO of Matter. We are a healthcare technology innovation hub built on a belief that collaboration is the best way to innovate in healthcare. Our mission is to accelerate the pace of change of healthcare. Before we hear pitches from each of the companies, I'd like to welcome our partner, President Hak-do Kim from KOSME, to join me. Prior to President Kim's position at KOSME, he served as a vice minister at the Ministry of SMEs and Startups. President Kim held several leadership positions with the Ministry of Trade, Industry, and Energy, including the Deputy Minister of FTA Negotiations and Deputy Minister of Energy and Resources. And he has a PhD from the University of Southern California. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Mr. Stephen, for your kind introduction. Good morning. Nice to meet you, all of you. I'm Hak-do Kim, and the president of KOSME, Korea SMEs and Startups. It's a great pleasure to be here, a part of the innovation showcase today. First of all, I'd like to express my utmost gratitude to the CEO and President Stephen Collins from Meta and the Executive Vice President Abin Kuriakos from World Business Chicago for the warm welcome to our KOSME delegation. I'd like to thank you so much to all of you for taking time to come and join this showcase in the midst of your busy schedule. With the 140-year history of long diplomatic ties since 1882, South Korea and the United States have built strong relationships in various fields, including economic cooperation. As of the end of 2021, the trade volume between our two countries recorded a total amount of $169.1 billion. And within the number, the trade volume between the state of Illinois and South Korea was $4.65 billion, and South Korea was Illinois' 10th largest trade country in the world. The small and medium-sized venture companies have been in the center of economic growth and trade between our two countries. Since the establishment in 1979, KOSME has provided comprehensive support for Korean small and medium-sized venture companies and startups. As of this year, KOSME exceeded 1,500 employees. KOSME manages 28 overseas branches in 20 countries, along with 33 local regional headquarters. Key programs include policy fund investment and loan, workforce and technology development, startup and export. The budget of my organization amounts to $8 billion. Recently, we are concentrating our resources on fostering export capabilities of SMEs, especially in the new emerging markets overseas, in order to increase their competitiveness. The global digital healthcare market is rapidly growing, and the US digital healthcare market size for 2021 reached $70.2 billion. For this reason, KOSME is currently conducting the US market adoption program, which focuses on the bio-digital healthcare sector for 2 years the City of Chicago's Economic Development Organization. KOSME will make our best effort to improve and newly develop innovative ways to support SMEs and startups. In that regard, I'd like to share with you the exciting news is that in 2023, we will be opening a new KOSME Global Business Center in the United States to launch and build the global collaboration network, which will foster business ecosystems. For KOSME's US market adoption program, we are looking forward to a more professional and effective approach, along with the collaboration with Meta and WBC, and adding the University of Chicago as a partner. I hope that KOSME's US market adoption program will act as a stepping stone for small and medium-sized venture companies and startups. I know that the Great Chicago Fire of 1871, which was one of the greatest disasters of the 19th century, burned down Chicago. However, architects, engineers, and innovators banded together to rebuild the new city of Chicago. I hope today's showcase also inspires you with an innovative spirit. Once again, thank you, Stephen Collins from Meta, for hosting the showcase and everyone who has come to join the showcase. At this time, I also would like to recognize the 4 companies who will be presenting in person: Airs Medical, Soundable Health, Kairos, and Robotics, who have all flown from South Korea to be part of this showcase. And the remaining 4 companies, which will be presenting virtually from South Korea: RF Medical, Emocog, Neurofit, Wiz Biosolution, who are standing by from 1:30 a.m. due to the time difference. I'd like to give you all a round of applause for your commitment to this showcase. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, President Hakdo Kim. I want to introduce our third partner in this adventure, Abin Kyriakos, who is the Executive Vice President of Innovation and Venture Strategy at World Business Chicago. Chaired by the mayor, World Business Chicago is a public-private partnership that drives inclusive growth and job creation, supports business, and promotes Chicago as a leading global city. Abin manages World Business Chicago's portfolio of innovation and venture programs, such as the Chicago Venture Summit, Startup Chicago, Think Chicago, and Venture Engine, together with the Illinois Science and Technology Coalition. World Business Chicago was also instrumental in getting Matter off the ground and launching back in 2015. So Abin, thank you for your partnership and invite you to say a few words.
Thank you, everyone. President Kim, on behalf of all of us at World Business Chicago, first, welcome to Chicago. We're not in charge of the weather, that's a separate department. So but I'm happy to share that when you entered through these doors at Matter, you became an honorary Chicagoan because it's the most Chicago place in our city. So now you can brave any cold winter. Your favorite food is the Chicago style hot dog. And you are now a very proud Chicago Cubs fan. Hello, everyone. Again, my name is Abin Kyriakos, Executive Vice President for Innovation and Venture Strategy at World Business Chicago, the City of Chicago's economic development organization chaired by the mayor. First, I want to thank Stephen and his incredible team and Matter for hosting today's showcase and today's event. This is one of our city's leading startup incubators, and Stephen and his team represent a really strong hub for our entire ecosystem. And so World Business Chicago is so grateful to have Matter as an amazing partner, but we're so grateful for all the incredible work they do for our city because they really put Chicago on the map when it comes to healthcare innovation. At World Business Chicago, our vision is to make Chicago the most business-friendly city in the world. But that doesn't mean what we think it means. We believe economic development must be innovative, inclusive, and values-driven. And we believe we have a unique responsibility in becoming a global role model when it comes to inclusive economic growth, ensuring that all Chicagoans prosper through equitable economic development. And I know KOSME shares this exact same special mission. KOSME is a premier organization which aggressively pursued new policies and innovation since the height of the COVID-19 pandemic. And KOSME plays a leading role for small businesses and startups to address the most significant challenges and when it comes to achieving innovative growth. So the question that challenges both KOSME and World Business Chicago, in a world dominated by a Silicon Valley narrative, how do we stand out? How do we compete? And then especially from our perspective, we hear this question all the time. How does Chicago become the next Silicon Valley? What about Austin? What about Miami? Does Seoul want to be the next Silicon Valley? And I think the answer is actually really simple. I want Chicago to be the best Chicago. I want Seoul to be the best Seoul. I believe our cities must be deeply invested in our founders, in their innovative startups, in our homegrown innovation ecosystems. And when we champion our local founders to thrive in our hometowns, that's a powerful advantage. There's nothing more powerful than today's founder building their startup in their hometown. And the powerful mission that KOSME and World Business Chicago shares represents the future of economic development, to be innovative, inclusive, and values-driven. So again, thank you so much for the opportunity of being here today. President Kim, again, congrats on becoming an honorary Chicagoan. And welcome again to everyone to Chicago.
Thank you so much, Avin. Thank you for your partnership, for the partnership and collaboration of World Business Chicago. Matter is uniquely positioned to help healthcare companies enter and thrive in the US market. And we are, again, thrilled to partner with KOSME to support Korean ventures. Over the last 2 years, we've worked with KOSME on the Korean SME US market adoption program to prepare a cohort of Korean healthcare companies for US market success. The Korean companies participate in a 6-month innovation program to advance their solutions and understand the nuances and intricacies of the US healthcare market through educational workshops, a diverse mentorship team, and exposure to potential customers, investors, and partners. At the end of the program, the companies will continue to benefit from a 1-year Matter membership to help them grow their business. Over the last 2 years, we've received more than 80 applications for the program, and Matter has been fortunate to work with 10 strategically selected companies in the Chicago cohort. Each company has a terrific solution to help improve health and healthcare globally. Ayers Medical, a company participating in this year's cohort, recently announced that it has raised approximately $20 million in Series B funding. Co-founded by graduates of Seoul National University, Ayers Medical uses AI-based diagnostic tests and robotics to provide a better clinical experience for both patients and healthcare providers. Xander Cardian, an alumni company from last year's cohort, closed a $10 million Series A financing round in December for its contactless health monitoring technology. This past month, Emocog won an award at IFA Berlin for their pitch on digital therapeutics for patients with neurodegenerative diseases. We are excited to hear from these great companies today who are participating in the Matter Chicago cohort, as well as the Washington, D.C. cohort facilitated by DHI. I am very thankful to our partner KOSME, especially to President Hak-do Kim, to Director Suk-Hwan Lee, Molly Park, Tiana Verho, and So-hee Hong, who have worked with us on this program and who have spent time working together with these companies. Thank you so much for your partnership and your collaboration. And now I'd like to welcome my colleague, Katie Costco, to the stage, who will moderate the showcase.
Stephen, and thank you, KOSME and World Business Chicago for coming out today. So next up, we will hear presentations from both the SMEs who are here in person at Matter as well as virtually. So each presentation will be 5 minutes in length. And with that, I would like to welcome up our first presenter, Airs Medical.
Let me start my presentation. I'm Hyun-Sung Lee, CEO of Airs Medical. It's my pleasure to be introducing our company to you today. So let's get started. A couple of years back, one of our co-founders rushed his mother into the hospital. She had to take an MRI exam. She had only do so after 30 minutes waiting in the corridor. Then she had a hard time in narrow noisy scanner for another 30 minutes. The whole family felt helpless waiting. She's now recovered. She had to book regular checkup scans for 1 month ahead of time. This waiting time is not a problem just for this family. It impacts up to 40 million patients in the US alone. And it translates to $10 billion of revenue for healthcare providers in USA. Our solution is very simple but powerful. SwiftML is deep learning-based MRI reconstruction solution. A standard Carob scan usually takes 30 minutes. If you adjust some parameters on existing scanner, you can reduce the scan time. But this is not used in clinical setting because the image quality is noisy and blurry, as you see here. SwiftML takes this image as input and reconstructs it back to the standard of care quality or even better. Reduction in scan time has a huge value, which makes patients happy, technologists happy, physicians and institutions happy. SwiftML is integrated MRI scanner and is fully automated. And this is flexible. We offer flexible pricing plans, and it is regulatory cleared both in Korea and USA. Now, you may be wondering, wouldn't MRI vendors such as GE, Siemens, and Philips want to offer similar solution in their own scanner? Yes, of course, they do so. But think of it this way, if you replace an old scanner, you can earn $2 million. Whereas if you upgrade software, you can earn at max $200,000. We are free from those internal conflicts, and we are vendor neutral. With meaning, if you install one installation, then you can use whole fleet of MRIs across GE, Siemens, and Philips. And also, I want to tell about the third-party solution vendors such as Medical. We crush them with the image quality. Not only are we consecutive winner of the world-only fast MRI challenges, but also customers choosing us over them in the market. This shows the market traction, which is building very fast in Korea. We started since Q4 last year, and as of today, we have reached almost 100 install bases. Accumulated total exceeded 180,000 scans. Conversion rate after 1 month of free trial is at 68%. Once converted, retention rate is 100%. We are confident that our product and business model can be taken in global. Our new market penetration strategy is implemented in 2 tracks. We deploy early adoption program for a few months before scaling up in order to calibrate the products if necessary. In parallel, we will conduct clinical research with the locally renowned institutions to back up regulatory and marketing. We plan to provide the product to 15 countries next year and to more than 40 countries in the following year, according to the regulatory timeline. We are confident that we could do so because of these 2 things. One, we have enough resources to do so. We were able to finish Series B funding with $20 billion this July. And we have a wonderful team. Convergence is a big cure as we bring together clinical engineering business experts under one roof. And we hire those who share our passion for data-driven work. Reflect this, we recently update our vision. It now reads data-driven well-being. What this means is the more timely and abundantly accurate personal health data is obtained, the healthier lives become, which is why we are focusing on increasing diagnostic efficiency, both in diagnostic imaging and in vitro diagnostics. Our second product is phantom automation robot that enables easy and painless and quick venipuncture for all, even those who has difficult veins. Our product pipelines goes on. Yeah, thank you for listening.
Thank you so much. Next up, we have Soundable Health.
My name is Catherine Song, founder and CEO of Soundable Health. Actually, the Chicago is a very particular meaning. It has a particular meaning to Soundable Health. In the year of 2019, the Soundable Health was invited by the American Neurological Association at their annual meeting, and that the first appearance to the medical community, was really critical for us. That's where this wide adoption in the States began. So getting back to the topic, Soundable Health, I suppose that you can easily guess from our name, we engineer with ambient sounds for the better health. So we would capture the ambient sound around the patient using the smartphone and its built-in microphone, and our proprietary AI engines analyzes the sounds and infer the key clinical grade parameters to manage chronic diseases. So we call it the digital audible biomarkers. So everyone here is supposed to know very well about hypertension and diabetes, but the enlarged prostate and overactive bladder with the comparable number of patients and yearly prevalence are significantly under-addressed. So can we imagine the heart health management without a blood pressure monitor at home? That's what exactly happened to the bladder and the prostate disease patients for now. So then the next question would be, what is the blood pressure in the urinary health? That's the uroflow. It's the speed of the urine stream and amount of urine and how many times we visit the bathroom. Those are the key parameters like a blood pressure for the heart health management in the urinary diseases, including enlarged prostate, overactive bladder, and a couple of others. So instead of the large cumbersome equipment and the lab examinations, we are using smartphone and AI engine. So we collect the key sounds at the bathroom and they analyze with the AI and seriously, and they give the clinical grade parameters. It works beautifully simple. So we will either the patients with the #1 nature call, starting the app and press the start button. Then we started capturing the ambient sounds and analyzing with the engines. And within a minute, immediately, he will get the clinical grade numbers with the flow, speed profile, and amount of urine, and a couple of other parameters. Those are key, like the blood pressure for the heart health, for the prostate and bladder health. So we conducted a multiple clinical trial in the States and South Korea and published it. It's very promising, the accuracy, reliability, reproducibility, the results in the renowned conferences and medical journals. So doctors recommend the use the ProudP application till their next visit. Then the patients download the app on the App Store and using the app to track their home uroflow till their next visit. Then the doctors they're using this ProudP application for their early diagnosis for the enlarged prostate, overactive bladder, and assessing the medication efficacy between the visit, and tracking the post-operative outcome and the adverse effects from those uroflow results. And our the users and researchers in the renowned for the medical centers and the health system, including the University of Texas Southwestern, Kaiser Permanente, Penn State, and Mount Sinai, using very actively. They also are very much intrigued, not only for the real-world data powered decision making, but also for the operational efficiency and the better patient engagement based on the real-world data. They're also intrigued by them. They're actively using with their patients. So beyond the urology application, we offer the future indications, including the respiratory, the sleep, and then urology as well. So starting from the biomarker, clinically validated biomarker, we try to build a monitoring platform in between the doctors and patients. And on top of that, we try to integrate the therapeutic and coaching features one by one for holistic care across the entire care process. Yeah, we are a team of seasoned engineer and business professional and backed by the renowned medical advisor for each indications. We work very closely to find the unmet clinical needs and talk to the business or the partners and health system partners together. So yeah, that's a very quick overview of the company. So I'm here for looking for the health system partners, healthcare company partners, for Sound Local Health, and looking for the invest for our next round funding at 10 million with Series A to commercialize at scale. So yeah, thank you very much. And yeah, please check out the Pro-P application on the App Store. It's free. It's ready. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next up, we have Jamie Park, CEO of Thyroscope.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Jamie Park, and CEO at Thyroscope, where we developed the world's first digital monitoring solution for thyroid disease. Numerous healthcare solutions targeting chronic disease such as diabetes and asthma have been crafting enormous values for the whole healthcare systems. However, there is no digital monitoring solution for thyroid dysfunction, a typical chronic disease that accounts for nearly 6% of the total populations. Glandy is the first one targeting thyroid dysfunction, which is for the 6% of the people in the world. Based on biosignal data from commercialized wearables and personalized record input by the app, Glandy provides 5 digital monitoring and managing solutions for thyroid disease. 2 risk level monitoring solutions are medical device softwares, which will be mainly addressed in this presentation. And the other 3 are wellness solutions for smart management of the disease. In order to clarify the problems of thyroid dysfunction, here I compare it with the diabetes. The biggest difference between the 2 diseases is that there is no alternatives for patients with thyroid dysfunction to check their disease status other than take a blood test in the hospital. The glucose meter for diabetes has 2 main functions, enabling to screen mark patients who can manage disease by themselves without hospital visits. Secondly, you can detect disease progresses in patients' daily lives. So the glucose meter for diabetes has significant, so the glucose meter for the diabetes contributes significant efficacies and safety to the whole healthcare treatment. However, this is totally unable for thyroid dysfunction. When the hospital visit of the patients with thyroid dysfunction is truly inefficient patient journey. Patients usually pay 4 times of hospital visits with a long time of waiting for the reservations and travel to the treatment and blood test. Even after the blood test, patients have to wait for 2 more days in order for prescriptions based on the test results. So what we developed to resolve the problem is the technology to predict thyroid hormone levels on a daily basis based on the collected data. So we can provide benefits for patients, just like the value of glucose meters. So patients can enjoy the early diagnosis to prevent worsening of the disease, as well as it can screen mark patients to cut unnecessary blood tests. Second problem is the thyroiditis, which is a complication of the dysfunction. So the disease causes patients' eye to be burdened, as you can see in the slides. With early detections, patients can minimize such cosmetic and functional after effects, but patients often fail in it because all thyroid dysfunction patients visit internal medicine or general physicians, while thyroiditis is a specialty of ophthalmologists. Therefore, we developed a predictive AI system for thyroiditis by mimicking the diagnostic processes of ophthalmologists. So based on patients' pictures taken by their smartphone, we extract features of the eye part and evaluate the occurrence of the thyroiditis. So patients can take early diagnosis to minimize such side effects, as well as to reduce the additional medical expenses and time from the recovery. The true value of our solution is that patients and doctors can know their disease status outside of the hospital, which enable remote data-driven communication between patients and doctors. So here is the story about the real-world scenario. Firstly, doctor prescribe Glandy app to the patients, and patients can manage and monitor their disease by themselves. Once disease progress is detected, then patients can request remote monitoring to the doctors. Then while PTR data history will be transferred to the doctors as well. Then doctors can decide whether the patient has to visit hospital or not. This is the real world scenario of how we will innovate the standard of care to maximize its efficiency as well as the safety. We are the best team with balance of fast learning, quick action, and expertise. I'm handling over business expertise, business strategies, and development. Our CTO is an endocrinologist treating 14,000 thyroid patients a year, as well as he used to be a patient with thyroid dysfunction. So he learns the true necessity of this kind of monitoring solutions, and so that he conducted clinical trial from 2016 and then developed this technology for the first time in the world. So we are preparing for pivotal clinical trials in the US and expect to initiate the patient recruitment early next year. So as the first digital technology in the world targeting 6% of the populations, once we clear FDA approval and CE marking and prove the real world scenario, we believe we can exit after the 3 years. So we are currently raising Series A fund and expect to close it by the end of this year with $4 million. So we are looking forward to your interest. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And next up, we have Andrew Chang, Head of US Business with Robotics.
Thank you, and thank you for having me here today. Chicago is just such a wonderful place in my heart. I used to actually live in Chicago for 7 years before moving to Austin earlier this year. So thank you for having us back in Chicago, such a beautiful city. Oswald is an H robotics patient, and he's a stroke survivor. And he describes his recovery journey as somebody pressing a reset button in his life. He woke up in the hospital bed, next thing he realized that he lost control over his body. And from that point on, it's a repetitive exercise that requires about 400 to 600 of repetitive exercise and an intensive care that takes in the course of every single day. But today, patients like Oswald is only getting about 2 to 3 hours of physical therapy sessions per day, or I'm sorry, per week. That's nearly not enough time for them to reach their maximum full recovery potential. So even after spending hundreds of hours on the street or commuting to the physical therapy center, spending thousands of dollars for the medical bills, a lot of the patients are left to themselves to actually reach the recovery goal by themselves. So the study shows only 10% of the stroke survivors will ever fully recover, while only 20% of the spinal cord injury patients will ever return to the workplace after year 5. So how do we solve this problem? At H Robotics, we have proven that the robot can be a game changer here. Robots never get tired. They're always ready when you are. And also, they can provide the repetitive high dosage exercise you can normally not get from the physical therapy alone. So let me introduce to Rebless. Rebless is a portable rehabilitation robotic device that can be used in the clinic, but also in the patient's home as well. It can provide the quality treatment in the patient's home so that they don't have to leave the home to get the quality physical therapy care. And all the data that the Rebless collects gets reported right back to the patient's care team so that they can utilize the data to build a recovery program that is just right for each individual patient. And to add to that, we realized a lot of the neurological patients are actually not impacted by just one joint, but they're actually impacted for a lot of different joints, multiple joints at a time. So the Rebless is designed to support both exercise for both upper and lower extremity in a single unit, which you can't find in any other devices that are out in the market right now. Yeah, and here. In the US, there are over 5.4 million Americans living with a paralysis today. And this number obviously is growing with the aging population. We've heard this all over and over again, but also with a young generation being impacted by these conditions these days. So this number is going to increase even more in the near future. What is more problematic is that physical therapy in the US is in such a shortage, and this trend will continue for any foreseeable future. And this, for us, is creating a golden opportunity to create a robotic device and also the tele-rehab solution. They can be a game changer here. So this is a very exciting time for us. The tele-rehab market is expected to grow to about $175 billion market until year 2026, while the rehabilitation robotics market to grow to about $6.4 billion market until 2025. So again, this is a very exciting time for us to be in this market right now. Just over 3.5 years since we started the company back in Korea, we have received numerous international recognition, including 2 CES Innovation Award for our innovative approach to our problem solving for the rehabilitation. But also we received the IF Design Award this year. And we just received the news this week that actually we received another prestigious design award called Idea Design Award. So we actually received 2 of the world top 3 design awards that is given today. So we're very proud of that. And also, we started to sell the device, commercialize the device September of last year. So just less than a year. Now it's about a year now. We have sold about $3.7 million of order. We shipped about 250 units last time I checked yesterday. We shipped over 250 units so far, just less than 6 months now. And we're doing 16 clinical trials in the US market right now. So these numbers will grow even more rapidly. But a lot of the other competitors are focused on the market that is targeting the clinics and hospitals with a very high price point, or they focused on a device that does the exercise for single joints only. We have a unique value proposition where Rebless is the only device that does not only upper and lower extremity exercise, but also this is the unit that can be used in the home and also in the clinical setting. It's an FDA Class 1 registered device that doesn't require the RX, so it can be used in the patient settings right now, and we have the patients using it at home right now. And also they can communicate with their physician team. So something that close to Rebless right now in the marketplace is a traditional hands-on therapy. And that, a lot of the patients don't have access to that, or it's just costly, it's a very prohibitive for a lot of the patients. So this is a very exciting opportunity even for the clinicians to give to the patient as an added service to their clinics. And also all the data Rebless collects, like I said, it gets transferred to the physician's team so that they can utilize the data to build the at-home physical therapy exercise program that is actually billable now through the code called Remote Therapy Monitoring Code that was released in 2022. So this is also providing an extra revenue generating opportunity for the hospitals and clinics as well. Rebless is right now available at $5,000 per unit, or it can be purchased as a subscription model at $399 a month. That comes with the unit itself, repair, and also free delivery of the unit. So if the clinic has more than 8 patients they're seeing with Rebless, they actually hit the break-even point even from month 1. And we realized a lot of the clinics and a lot of the patients are actually suffering from a chronic stage conditions. And even for those patients, these exercises can really benefit them to build that neuroplasticity. And for those patients, we're offering Rebless at $599 a month. That actually comes with an hour session with our talented clinical team. So we have a short list of our team, but right now, behind the scene, we have 56 members working for H Robotics at this point. One thing that people don't really know about Korea is known for a lot of things. And I think we know by now, I mean, it's usually when I do this pitch, we have not this many Korean people, but Korea is known for BTS and Gangnam Style, those K-pop, but also Korea is known for robotics. We have more number of robots deployed than any other countries in the world, and that allowed us to attract the top talents that you can think of. So 2 of the founders, they have background in they have robotics background, they have PhD from the top university in Korea. And also the founder, who's a CEO, Emocog, he actually has 2 other medical startup companies that he started and successfully exited out of before starting H Robotics. I myself, because I worked for T-Microsoft, we had a headquarters just across the bridge from here. We had a global headquarters here, and I was leading T-Max is the top enterprise software company in Korea, and we competed with the IBM and Oracle in almost every corners of the world. And I led the global expansion of that company. And Caitlin Buss, who's a doctor of physical therapy, adding the wealth of clinical knowledge to our team, And we have 55 other team members holding strong to tackle any challenges that the world can throw at us. And we left the blank space on the right side because we're actively hiring right now. We have been very fortunate to be working with the top investors in Korea for the last 3 years. Just to name a few of them, DSC, POSCO, Hyundai Investment, they have helped us raise $19.2 billion so far. And right now, we're in the process of going IPO with a plan to go public in 2023. We're going through a bridge round and we're raising $6.9 million and also help us really build a strategic relationship in the US market and help us build a software development team in the US and also the sales and clinical team in the US. So this is the pictures of Rebless being used in the clinic settings right now. And our dream is that one day that reset button will be pressed, some of us in this room, and that is for sure. And when that button is pressed, I want to make sure that there's a team and robots to assist your recovery. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And we will switch over to the virtual presenters. Emocog will be up next.
Hi, I'm Sogyu Park from Emocog. I think I have the honor to be presenting, the first one to be presenting from Korea. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to attend in person. So to talk about Emocog, the name, it actually comes from two words. It comes from emotion and cognition. Hence, we are trying to tackle the neurodegenerative diseases in total. And however, we are currently now focusing mainly on dementia. And as you all may know, dementia is known to be one of the most feared and prevalent diseases amongst the elderly, ranging around 10% of the population of the countries that are registered in the OECD. However, we would like to address this issue, a social issue, by saying that it can be treated and prevented, faced with hope. To give you a bit more detail about our company, the company was founded on January 2021 by 3 professors, so we're relatively young compared to the companies that you've seen. The professors were all majoring in psychiatry or anatomy or clinical psychology. Hence, we have over 40 plus cumulative years of research on dementia. And as they were willing to tackle this issue throughout their life through pen and paper methodologies before, now they want to actually address this with a new technology called the DTX, which is the digital therapeutics. So the reason why we chose DTX is because compared to the traditional way of approaching dementia, which is through pen and paper and through labor-intensive human interactions, is because we can actually lower the costs through it, but also because the elderlies are more and more used to using smartphones and digital tools compared to the elderlies that we've known 20 years ago. So we are trying to tackle dementia digitally and holistically. So today I would like to introduce you to our 2 main products that we are focusing on right now in the foreign market, which is Cogthera and the companion app. So to give you a little more detail about Cogthera, Cogthera is a cognitive training application for MCI and early dementia patients. So amongst the DTX, it will be classified as a prescription DTX or a PDTX. Currently, MCI patients within around the developed countries, there are around 20 million patients currently, and we're expecting them to rise to 40 million. The issue with dementia is that after a certain stage or after a certain progress, the social cost and the emotional cost of the patient's family rises drastically. And we would want to use this cognitive training app, which is quite different from the traditional pen and paper app due to various customizations, various monitoring and tracking sequences. We are aiming to prolong or to delay the progress of mild MCI patients, which is the mild cognitive impairment patients, and early dementia patients into evolving further or progressing further into moderate or severe dementia, where they will actually incur more social costs, they incur more personal damage to themselves as they would slowly fade away in the memories and lose hope. So Cogthera, the application, which is complete in Korea and now is facing a clinical trial session, is composed of 12 weeks of program, where 2 weeks is composed of exam sessions where the patient's cognitive levels are evaluated. Afterwards, they will have the 10 weeks of training sessions where the difficulties and the customizations exist in order to properly stimulate the brain, in order to increase their cognitive function and to increase their cognitive reserve, which would slower the progress into a moderate and severe dementia. The second part of our product is called the companion app. So the companion app, rather than aiming for the patients, it actually aims for the caregivers. So one of the core issues that dementia faces is that it just doesn't destroy the memories of the patient themselves, but also the emotional damage is occurred to the patient's surroundings. So the surrounding people, whether it could be their partner, the kids, and their friends are highly affected by dementia. Many of the surroundings have issues also with depression and other complicated psychological distress. And the companion app is actually composed of 4 primary functions, which is information, bureaucratic support, emotional support, and participation. So information would actually carry all the know-hows of the patients, of the patient and of dementia. So once a patient actually progresses into dementia, they would start to express a lot of behavioral issues, where most of the time the patient's families are flabbergasted due to their very exotic yet a somewhat appalling behavior. Behaviors, and hence we would try to give the information to the patients about it. The bureaucratic support is everything about everything the patient's family requires to tackle all the bureaucratic issues that comes with insurances and government subsidies. Emotional support exists to help the patient's surroundings with meditation and other sequences. And last but not least, participation provides the patient's family with various nutritional facts and exercises that you could actually do together with your loved one. Emocog was established on last year on January. We've currently closed our Series A earlier this year, and now, as I've mentioned before, we've also finalized our application on July. We're currently kicking off our development of the companion app in German, and also a adaptation of the Cogthera in English and German. We've been collaborating with Matter in various fields, such as market research MD, distribution channel evaluation, and market entry prioritization. And today, thanks to Matter, we are having this pitch to raise extra investments within the States in order to fund the clinical trials in States and in the EU. So to give you a brief explanation about our colleagues. Professor Dr. Chang Li is here and founder of Emocog. He's currently a professor of psychiatry at Seoul National University, also a CEO in Emocog. Professor Dr. Yongjun is actually was actually a professor in Chang University in anatomy. He actually forgo with all his job as a professor in order to work 100% in Emocog. And there's last but not least, there's also Professor Yoon, who's our board member on scientific board, who's majored psychology in Paris 5, Université Paris 5. And there's Hannes and I, who are mainly focusing on the expansions in the US and Europe. And last but not least, we have various team members ranging from, we have 3 MDs, we have 5 very, very qualified developers. We also have other 4 clinical clinical psychologist PhDs, and designers, and regulatory affair managers, and 3 expansion managers in order to support the overall team's endeavor into the global market. Yes, that is it for us. We would like to hear more from you in our next pitch on October. And thank you very much for listening.
Thank you. Next up, we have Ben Avenden, Head of US Business Development at RF Medical.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ben Ovenden, and as Katie said, I'm the Business Development Manager for RF Medical here in the United States. My cohort from Thyroscope just a few minutes ago talked about thyroid disease, and I wanted to touch on that for just a moment because that's where we have our biggest footprint here in the United States. In the US, we estimate there are around 100,000 or so thyroidectomy procedures per year. And the vast majority of those are surgical. And after the surgery, the patient has to take a lifetime of thyroid hormone, which can dramatically impact their quality of life. RF Medical manufactures radiofrequency ablation equipment as a non-surgical alternative to a wide range of applications. So for the thyroid, for example, our radiofrequency ablation device is a non-surgical, very fast procedure that resolves the symptoms immediately, shrinks the thyroid nodule, and the thyroid gland is preserved. The thyroid function is preserved, and the patient does not have to have a lifetime of medication. Unfortunately, in the United States, there's no CPT code for this basic procedure. So our patient pool is dramatically limited to those who can afford self-pay. And that's the primary reason that we're working with Matter, is to help establish this CPT code to get this procedure to more patients to improve their quality of life. As I mentioned, our radiofrequency ablation system is very simple. RFA uses ionized or frictional energy to safely heat diseased tissue to the point of necrosis. And over time, the body reabsorbs this tissue. And our system uses our RF generator that we manufacture at our headquarters to deliver this energy via our specialized electrodes, which we also manufacture in Korea, to treat a wide range of diseases that you can kind of see on the right-hand side of the screen there. The opportunity here in the United States is to treat all of these diseases eventually with our minimally invasive outpatient procedure that for 20 years has proven to be an effective solution with low complications. It reduces healthcare costs versus traditional interventions. And unlike surgery, again, it preserves the function of the organ. There are companies in the United States that have radiofrequency equipment. Again, it's a 20-year-old technology, so it's been used for a while. But the applications in the United States are specific to a certain disease, whether it be uterine fibroids or tumor, as I mentioned, or soft tissue tumors like liver or kidney. But our application can be used across this whole range because we developed specific radiofrequency electrodes or needles, as you can see in the picture there, that are specific to the diseased area. And our generator uses proprietary impedance-based algorithms, which talk to the body to make sure that the energy that we're sending through is not going to hurt the patient. Traditionally, generators use temperature algorithms, which cook the tissue, for lack of a better word, just to a certain point and then turn off. Our system is more safe and is more precise than the competition. And as I mentioned before, our technologies reduce healthcare costs, and they offer improved patient outcomes with fewer complications at a lower price point than traditional therapies. We believe that there's a huge market here in the United States. So this is kind of a moving target, but here's where we are today. We received 510(k) clearance for our thyroid application in 2019, and we are currently treating about 1,000 patients a year. We think that could be a lot bigger with the help of a CPT code. So as I said, we're working with Matter on a CPT code for our thyroid or thyblate application. And we also received 510(k) clearance on the 5th of this month for our myoblate application, which is for uterine fibroids, as well as soft tissue tumors, so liver, kidney, and lung. And we are also looking to open a US office, and we're headquarters and our board is trying to determine exactly where we're going to open that office, and we'll be able to serve our US customers and distributors much more closely stateside than we are today, and that'll improve our level of service. And we really thank KOSME and Matter for all the support over the last few months. It's been a great help for us. And that's all I have. Thank you very much for your time.
Thanks, Ben. Next up, I'd like to introduce Dr. Yongjun Moon, Executive Director with Neurofit.
Okay, this is Yongjun from Neurofit, and I'm in charge of Business Development Division in Neurofit. And many thanks to Matter and KOSME and World Business Chicago to giving me the opportunity of introduction of our company. We at Neurofit is very focusing on artificial intelligence-based neuroimaging, such as brain MRI or brain PET, PET imaging analysis technology and its application for brain disease. So for the problem we have been mostly focusing on dementia. Dementia is quite serious chronic disease in the world. For globally, 55 million cases were reported in 2019, and it will be tripled in 2050. And in US, 5.3 million were reported in 2019, and it will be doubled in 2050. And dementia is the 7th leading cause of death among all diseases, but as you probably know already, it has a lot of big impacts for the carers, families, and even all the society. This is for the biomarker status, biomarker magnitude status of the processing of disease progression of Alzheimer's disease. Alzheimer's disease shares 70% of all the dementia. So before cognition or memory problem, the amyloid beta in brain are coming first, then tau and neurodegeneration like atrophy or structural brain structure problem, which can be measured by MRI. So amyloid beta and tau can be measured by PET imaging, and neurodegeneration can be measured by MRI. And then the cognition test itself is not accurate. From the comments from Professor Rhoda Oh from Boston University, she also mentioned that the cognitive capabilities vary even in the morning and afternoon can be different. So there are more needs for more accurate biomarkers for diagnosis and also clinical trial for Alzheimer's disease therapeutics. That's why in year of 2018, National Institute of Aging and Alzheimer Association released the research guideline for biomarker-based dementia diagnosis based on amyloid and tau PET and also neurodegeneration. And so it was the first guideline for the diagnosis of Alzheimer's disease based on surrogate biomarker, imaging biomarkers, including amyloid, tau, neurodegeneration. So we have developed a medical device grade AI-based neuroimaging analysis tool named Aqua, covering the MRI, brain MRI imaging analysis, including MRI T1 weighted atrophy analysis. I'm going to call it N because this is coming from neurodegeneration, and also white matter hyperintensity, which is related to brain vascular health. So I'm going to call it V. So this is medical device grade software which provides the normative percentile information of atrophy and also Fajica scale, the severity of white matter hyperintensity vascular health. And also this is, we got approval from Korean FDA, Korean MFDS, and also Japanese PMDA and CE marked. And it's on the process of US FDA 510K. And we expect we can get the 510K cleared in fourth quarter by the end of this year. And for the PET imaging analysis software for amyloid or tau PET, we got Korean FDA MFDS approved. And also I'm happy to share with you that we just got 510K, FDA 510K cleared last month. And the PET imaging software can analyze the amyloid beta A and tau T and FDG PET together. And also multi-PET tracers can be applied for the analysis. And also automatic quantification of amyloid or amyloid beta or tau by SUVR, which is the quantification unit for amyloid or tau plaque. And for the problems and solutions, for the diagnosis, as the diagnosis support tool, our software can provide the time saving. It used to take hours to interpret the MRI imaging, for example, but it can be now done, performed in 5 minutes, and extended medical quality can be achieved. And the earlier, the better. The MRI can be the first-line modality for dementia diagnosis. And also there are quite many of equivocal interpretation cases in MRI and also PET images, but our automatic processing and calculation for atrophy and white matter hyperintensity and PET quantification can be achieved. And then for the surrogate biomarker for Alzheimer's disease drug development, we have developed already for medical grade and multimodality covering amyloids and tau, neurodegeneration, and also vascular health for neuroimaging analysis. And the participant enrollment and outcome assessments by neuroimaging biomarker can be achieved, and which is very important for the AD drug development. For example, the aducanumab, the first disease-modifying drug of Alzheimer's disease, got approval last year by FDA. They got approval based on amyloid beta improvement. And the platform, so we can provide platform solution for centralized managing and minimizing discrepancy in multi-center neuroimaging data analysis. So in competitive advantages, we got regulatory approval, including FDA 510K clearance, and also normative for atrophy analysis covering global market, including US, UK, and East Asian. And then AI-based algorithm, which is applicable to regardless of ethnic, all the subjects. And then maximized capacity, we have a brain segmentation of 91% of agreement, and PET imaging the case, 94% of agreement compared to the radiologists and nuclear medicine specialists. So we are conducting quite big project in Korea, supported by Korea Dementia Research Center. We have we have an access to 30,000 cases of dementia database, and we will apply our AI-based neuroimaging analysis technologies, each of amyloid, tau, and neurodegeneration, also vascular health, and we will categorize those subjects, dementia database subjects, by their biomarker status, and it can provide the standardization and staging information of Alzheimer's disease patients, which will be very valuable. Results comes up for dementia typing and stage standardization, also surrogate biomarker for new AD drug development, and which will be also valuable tool for early diagnosis of AD. And also very recently, we got the exclusive commercial service project with the Korea Disease Control and Prevention Agency for brain disease neuroimaging, including both of MRI and PET, interpretation and establishment of clinical neuroimaging database. So our solution, our technology will be the standard for the Korea Disease Control and Prevention Agency of neuroimaging database. So this is our status. We have developed commercialized 5 solutions, and 4 of them are medical device approved already, and we were selected as a promising global promising startup, AI startup by Philips in 2018, and also we successfully raised Series B funding of 16 million last year, and now we are quite many of 100 of workforces working together, and 70% of them are R&D. These are C-level executives of the team that Mr. Jake Bin and Dr. Donghyun Kim are co-founders. They used to study together in Gwangju Institute of Technology, which is one of the most advanced technology institute here in Korea. And Chief Product Officer Chang, he has been working in the GMAS and G Healthcare and covering the software development. And myself used to work in biology and also diagnostic, global healthcare diagnostic field, and I'm in charge of business development. And we will come to Chicago this year, coming November, attending RSNA, and then this was a picture from last year of RSNA, and I will be attending there, and it will be great. I'll be very happy to follow up our discussion and also business discussion and introduction of our technology in Chicago in a couple of months. Thank you.
Thank you. And now we have our final presentation, Justin Cho, Head of Partnerships and Business Development with WizBio Solutions.
Hello, everyone. Hi, this is Justin Cho, joining from KOSME office near Washington, D.C. I'm in charge of WizBio's U.S. Headquarters now. WizBio Solution is a molecular, at-home, and point-of-care diagnostic solution company for various infectious disease. Company has been up and running for 12 years. And then we are very vertically integrated company, which means that from enzyme to reagent to devices and software services, we do on our own, and we're not purchasing from outside, which give us a quality and price advantage. We based on one of our core strengths is this lyophilized reagent. This is all powder formats. This is room temperature stable and shelf life more than 1 year. We don't need a cold chain to carry on this reagent globally. Based on our strength, we decide to bring 2 innovations to the market. Why we decided to put innovation in the market? In the infectious disease treatment at the major detection area, and as we experienced in the pandemic era, antigen tests did not work. There are so many false negative, false positives in the early stage. You cannot really detect your infection. And also hospital setting as well. Doctors struggling with how to tell the COVID and flu, and they need to send up the sample to the hospital. It took 2 days, or 1 or 2 days to bring the result out. Inaccuracy and the delay has negatively impacted high-risk people. And this, we incurred a huge cost for our nation's healthcare system. So to solve this problem, we launched 2 solutions. CLAIR 1 is the at-home diagnostic solution. It also can be used in hospital setting as well. And the CLAIR Q16 is the point of care testing device for practitioner's office. These 2 devices are very accurate and fast, especially very affordable, and then easy to use, and then with the portability and all the connection functionality that effectively address the outbreak and spread of the disease. So a bit of a CLAIR 1 device, you see, maybe you can see this on my palm. There's very tiny small device, you can use it at home. Mommy and daddies, when their kids got sick, they just take the samples out of kids, very easy nasal swab, and then put in the cartridge and run it for 30 minutes. You get the result out easily. This is a molecular device, with a high accuracy. Good thing about this device is that we have this multiplexing capability with a unique structure of the cartridge, which means that COVID, flu can be tested together in 30 minutes, and then through the smartphone, you can see the result out. Another innovation we bring is the CLAIR Q16. So this device is for practitioner's office or maybe even lab. 16 tests can be done at one time with 40 minutes turnaround time. Right now, with the 1 testing kit, we can test up to 3 disease testing is possible. Okay, so this is it brings the end to my presentation. I spent my 20th in Chicago, the Windy City. I love Chicago. I miss Chicago a lot. Thanks for listening.
All right, well, that concludes the showcase. I do thank you again to our partners, KOSME, World Business Chicago, to all of the SMEs for your awesome presentations, both in person and virtually. And thank you also to the mentors, the ventures team, for spending countless hours supporting these teams successfully entering us. So